Welcome to another episode of the Transfer Exchange Show. Today we've got plenty, and it's all transfers from all around the globe. Well, the big ones, the ones we think you'll be interested in. Next up, this one's been getting on my nerves for ages. Philippe Coutinho. Now, nobody has held talks with Philippe Coutinho. Well, that's not necessarily true. Well, it is true. No one's held talks with Philippe Coutinho. Clubs have inquired about Philippe Coutinho, but the likes of Arsenal, United, Tottenham, Chelsea haven't. And in fact, the only teams to make a serious inquiry about Philippe Coutinho are, as I reported about a month ago, Leicester and Newcastle. And obviously he doesn't fancy them. Leicester seems a bit like a project, although they're doing really well in the last few years, especially since their Premier League win. And Newcastle's a bit an unknown quantity. For a player of Philippe Coutinho's stature, he wants to be playing at a club who are a bit more prestigious, I think. Now, I'm not taking anything away from Leicester and Newcastle, but he obviously doesn't fancy you. So, yeah, stop with the absolute rumours about Philippe Coutinho coming to Arsenal, Tottenham, Man United, Chelsea, Liverpool again, because they're just not true. Make up some other player. Next up, Barcelona. Did you know that before the pandemic, their transfer strategy for the summer was going to be to buy Lautaro Martínez and Neymar from PSG? Neymar for 175 mil and Martinez for 110. That's madness. But what they said is they wanted to build the best strike force in Europe. Without doubt, that would have been. But the pandemic's hit and there's been a bit of trouble. They've had to shift their priorities just to Martinez, and 110 million, they can't quite raise the funds yet, which is why they're looking to get rid of the likes of Umtiti, Rakitic, Dembele, and a few others. They're also being linked with Pjanic from Juventus, and that rumour is very true. He's technically gifted, great pass of the ball, scores goals, and he's got a great energy in midfield, and that's what they want. So even though Barcelona don't have the funds that they wanted, the strategy's having to shift and prioritise for maybe 2-3 main positions. Oh, they're also interested in Eric Garcia from Man City, and Man City are trying to tie him down on a longer deal. They're labelling him the next PK. Reyes! I've got to get my boy Reyes on this one to see what he's saying. So the strategy has shifted from Barcelona. Even though they've got no money, they're still willing to spend £110 million on a striker, and they're trying to get in a top-class central midfielder. But the real question is, what are Real Madrid going to do? Because they're also in the same amount of trouble because of issues with the fact they haven't been able to watch the games on TV, and there's no fans coming through the turnstiles. They need to raise funds. There's also a list of players that Real Madrid are trying to sell to raise funds for their transfer targets. We're going to look into that a little bit deeper, so watch this space to see what Real Madrid are after in the summer transfer window. Next, back to Arsenal. Now, David Luiz is currently out of contract at the end of this season because he only signed a one-year contract since joining from Chelsea. There was news about a month back that said that Arsenal were going to trigger David Luiz's extension to extend his contract for a year, but apparently they didn't take up that option. Most recent reports are saying that David Luiz wanted to end his career at Benfica, so there's a chance that the Brazilian defender may not even want to stay at Arsenal and may want to finish the rest of his career at Benfica from now. But we've had it from the horse's mouth. Kia Jakukun. We've had it straight from David Luiz's agent's mouth, him saying that Arsenal will sit down with Luiz and his representatives at the end of the current season to discuss where they go from here. So David Luiz at Arsenal next season, it still could be happening. The contracts could still get signed. Don't worry, people. Well, maybe they are worried. Nah, don't worry. David Luiz has actually been a great signing. I don't care. He's been a quality signing. And since Arteta's come in, he's been one of our best central defenders. Yeah, he's had a couple of mistakes here and there, but he's been one of the most consistent defenders with Mustafi. I know it's crazy to hear, but he has been. So it'd probably be good to have a bit of experience next to William Saliba because David Luiz actually sounds, the way he talks, he's got a good head on him. So, yeah, David Luiz looks like he could be staying at Arsenal for another season. We've got more transfer news coming up soon. Don't forget to catch us on the podcast on Sunday, every Sunday on KS1 TV at 8 p.m. A new shiny dispute. Football POV is coming back next week. Kieran chats with, and don't forget to check out my latest interview with Beto Bianchi, the former Angola international manager, where it's a very candid interview, a very honest and candid interview with Beto, where he talks about the lack of development in Angola and how a lot of players are being missed out on. So watch this space, because the World Football Index is not the last place we're going to end up. On that note, peace out, stay safe, and wash your hands.